Okay, so in the last video we went over arrays. There's a couple more things that I want to talk about with arrays. Let's say I want a matrix that has the number 5 and it's a 4 by 4. I would have to do 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay? Don't ask me why I would want a matrix like that, but there are situations where you might want to do that. Now that's very, very annoying to do. And what if I wanted a 10 by 10? Well, it turns out there's a function called ones, and I can do 4 by 4. And what that will do is give me a matrix of ones with a number of rows 4, a number of columns 4. So then I can do ones times 5, and now suddenly I have my matrix with 5 in there. Now I can also do something called zeros, and that will give me a matrix of zeros, and then I can add 5 to it and I can get the same thing. So I could go in here and I could say give me a 10 by 1, so that's 10 rows, 1 column, and add 5 to it, and now suddenly I have a vector that is 10 rows, 1 column, and there's a 5 in every single one of them. Right? So I could come back here and I could say B is 2 now, and now I have two matrices, one with a bunch of 5s in it and another one with a bunch of B's in it. Okay? Now this brings me to adding and subtracting matrices. Say I want C equal to A plus B. What MATLAB will do is it will take every single number in A and add it to B. Let's do a simpler example. Let's say 1, 2, and then B is 3, 4. Now if I do C equals A plus B, I'm going to get 1 plus 3 is 4, 2 plus 4 is 6. So I get 4 and 6, right? Now remember that you have to make sure that your matrix dimensions match. Say A is 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to transpose it. A is a 3 by 1, B is a 2 by 1. If I do A plus B, it's going to throw an error because it says matrix dimensions must agree. Now the same thing happens with multiplication. If I do 1, 2, 3, which is a row, times 1, 2, 3, it's going to throw an error because a 1 by 3 times a 1 by 3 doesn't work. But you can do a 3 by 1. So let's try that. Let's say A is 1, 2, 3, B is 1 semicolon 3. So now I have a 1 by 3 and a 3 by 1. If I do A times B, now I get 14. Why did it do that? 1 times 1 is 1, plus 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 plus 5 is 14. So I did A times B. Now, say instead of doing A times B, I actually want to do A squared. Well, it won't let me do that. If I do A times A, it won't let me do that either. But if I do A dot times A, so I add this dot operator in here, I can actually get 1, 4, and 9. So if I have A equals, say, 1, 2, 3, and B equals 4, 5, 6, A times B, it won't let me do that, but A dot times B, I should get 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 6 is 18, and that's exactly what I get, 4, 10, 18. So you need to make sure you use a dot operator when you are multiplying and dividing. If I do A divided by B, I get 0.4155, which doesn't make any sense. If I do A dot divided by B, now I get 1 divided by 4 is 1/4, 2 divided by 5 is 0.4, 3 divided by 6 is 0.5. Okay? So, other than that, in terms of matrices, the only other thing that you need to learn is semicolons and referencing elements of an array. So say I have a matrix A equals, I'm going to do ones of 4, 1, 2 times ones 4, 1, 8 times ones 4, 1. So that's going to make me 4 by 3 with 1s, 2s, and 8. Now say I want this number here. Well, that's the same thing as doing A2 with parentheses. That's the second row, third column, and I get 8. Now I can also do 3, 2, but that'll be the third row, second column, which will be a 2. I can also grab the entire first column. So that's all rows, first column. I can do A of 2 comma all, and that'll be row 2, all columns. And that'll give me the entire second row. I can also do A of 2, 1 to 2. So I want the second row, the first and second element, and then I get 1 and 2. Or I could say, give me 2 to 3, so give me the second column to the third column, and I can do that. And finally, I can say, give me the first and second row, second and third column, and that will give me a matrix, right? Now, semicolons are very important because say you do x equals 1, 1, 10, that'll give you 10 numbers. Say you do 0.1, now you've got 91 numbers. Say you do 0.01, now you have 901 numbers. Say you do something crazy and you do 0.10001, it's going to output all of those numbers, and oh my gosh, it's spitting out all of this stuff. Now if I put a semicolon and hit enter, it doesn't spit anything out. But if I type in whose, here, let's try this again. I'm going to hit clear, I'm going to hit x, it doesn't exist, and then I'm going to type in x equals this, semicolon, but if I type in whose, there it is. X is still there. It's 1 by, what is that, 900,001 with 7,200,008 bytes. So the variable is there even though you use the semicolon, but it didn't do this craziness. And you definitely don't want to see this when you're writing a script. So when you're writing a script, it's very important to always put semicolons in your script.